Now what we could do to pitch is we could also say, okay, pitch is below anything below C2. Maybe we want to randomize it. So that would randomize everything between C-2 and G4. Okay, now as you can see, you can do a lot of different things, and you can do multiple things at once. So if I can take my note, let's say we go to status equals note, right? Directly under note, if we say fix, and I say control, basically what I can do is I can take a note information, a note event, a MIDI note event, and I can turn it into control information. Okay, so let's say I play a scale from C-2 to G8 on my keyboard, and I convert that into volume information. Basically what I've done is I've taken note pitch and turned that into a volume automation. So this is pretty crazy stuff. You guys can have a lot of fun with this. It's a very advanced thing though, and what I suggest you do is play around with the presets first and then go off on your own. Now, real quick, we have conditions. What are you going to do stuff to? We have operations. What are you going to do to those things? Okay, so this is where you select what you're going to get. This is where you select what you're going to do to them, right? And it all has to do with MIDI information, only MIDI information. Okay, now they do have modes, but I don't want to get into that just yet. It's pretty simple, actually. Okay, apply operations to selected events. So if you're inside a region and you have certain notes selected, it'll do it only to those. Apply operations and delete unselected events. So it'll do whatever you want to whatever you have selected, and then delete anything else. Delete selected events. Well, it's pretty simple. All you're doing is you're using the conditions to find specific types of information, and then it'll delete it. Copy selected events, then apply operations. So let's say that you're changing the pitch on a note. If you say copy selected events and apply operations, it'll change the pitch on the note, but there'll still be a note there from before, because the original note will still be there because it creates a copy. So there you go. One of the coolest windows for doing MIDI stuff in Logic. In a later video, I'm going to show you how you can use a transform object in the environment window when I go back to the environment, but I'm not going to hit that yet. For now, what I'd like you guys to do, call it your homework. Open up a drum kit and do a little drum rhythm. You can also bring in an Apple loop, MIDI Apple loop, and use some of these presets on it. Reverse pitch, reverse position, velocity limiter. Just try that out and let me know what you think. Okay, so the transform window. Conditions, what are you getting? Operations, what are you going to do to them? And, oh, one last little thing. I think I have time for this. So under each of the conditions, you usually have an equals. So position equals means it's only going to get that position. Unequals, everything except what you select. Less than, anything under that position. More than, anything above that position. Inside means inside specific bar and beat. So between bar 1 and bar 5, I want to do something. Outside, anything outside of bar 1 to bar 5. And then map, you can create your own map. No, I don't want to talk about that yet, though. So just deal with these first, and then we'll talk about the map later. All right. And then underneath, where you have your operations, you can fix, which means it's going to fix it to a specific value. Add means it's going to add to whatever you had. Subtract will subtract from whatever you had. Minimum, maximum, flip, flips the value. Multiply, multiplies the value. Divide will divide the value. Scale will scale down the value. Range gives you a range between, like if you say, the range is 0 to 50, then it'll fix everything to being between 0 and 50. Randomize completely randomizes something. Randomize plus and minus is going to be positive and negative values. Reverse simply reverses. Quantize, you know what that means. Quantize minimum, if you take that, then you can actually, if you say 16th note, it'll quantize, the minimum quantize will be a 16th note. Then we have crescendo, which is, if you do that on velocity, you end up with a crescendo. So if we went over to status equals note, velocity, we come down to operations. We're going to use all the velocities of all the notes. Go down here, and if we say crescendo, then basically what it does is it creates a map down here that goes 0 to 127. So it takes all of the stuff that you have selected and will adjust their velocities between 0 and 127. So if I do that and take a look at my my MIDI region, okay, 51 events, blah, 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 oh, 0 to 127, duh, select and operate. What? Oh, I guess, you know what, they changed that between 7 and 8. This has to be 127, that has to be 0. Still didn't work. See, what I'm doing is I'm using the transform window and I'm looking at my piano roll editor here because it says status equals note, right? So that's what I'm selecting. I've got all my velocities and I wanted to map it between 0 and 127. But it's still not doing anything. That's very interesting. Maybe I have to select it again. Nope. Maybe I'll say inside bar 1 to bar 5. Well, that did it. Okay, so I gave it a position. If I had said all, though, that should have worked as well. But it doesn't. So, interesting. So if I go inside bar 1 to bar 5, select and operate, 0 to 127, it actually selects it all and does its magic. Yep, and I can tell because here in the, see how it changes color from violet to red? So there you go. I had to give it a position. Anyway, there you go. Have fun with the transform window, and I'll talk to you later. Alright, see you at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Ciao.